Hello flatties and globe defenders, it's Critical Thing from Down Under. As many of you would be aware, I took a visit to Phuket earlier on in the year. Now I did invite Mr. Phuket Word to come along and help out with some observations and get his input, but he refused for some reason or other. I don't know. He couldn't be there to defend his position, so I just went ahead and did the observations without him. And it's not flat. Sorry about that. You weren't there to have your say, so you can't complain about the result now. 4 months ago, Phuket Word went to Phuket City Viewpoint to take this picture, and he produced a video which was meant to poke fun at globe defenders who can debunk the flat earth with just one photograph. His video, of course, is a complete failure because the earth is measurably a globe, and I will now show you two things. Firstly, I will show you how Phuket Word contradicts himself by using words and deception rather than measurement. And secondly, I will show you how, with one single photo, that photo can be shown to be impossible on a flat earth. I travelled to Phuket a couple of months ago now, and I went to the same location, also known as Rang Hill, and here is a picture I took from the same spot. Now I offered Phuket the opportunity to meet me and perform some observations together, but of course he just ignored me. Is he afraid that his cult beliefs may be shown to be false? Does he see me as such a powerful force for the globe that he was totally intimidated by my presence in Phuket? On numerous occasions I've exposed that the Emperor has no clothes, so I can only guess that he totally fears the truth being exposed. He has attempted to debunk quite a few globe defenders, but he has never had anything to say to refute my clear logic. He blocks me from his channel, and he did not wish to meet me. He has no answers and is running scared. If the flat earth was such a robust truth, he would be happy to engage, but that just isn't the case. Hey, Phuket, you seem like a nice bloke, but if you're going to make idiotic statements on the internet from the safety of your echo chamber, then sure, I'm going to point out how idiotic your position is. Nothing personal, mate. Phuket Word knows who I am. He just ignored my invite. A little while back, Mr. Cheswick put out this video about me, more or less saying, "Who is this guy, the international man of mystery?" And Phuket Word left this comment, which shows he has seen my videos and he knows I went to Antarctica with Greater Sapien, and that was about the time that I also advertised my invitation to meet him in Phuket. Oh, and I paid my own airfares, but I do have to thank Wolfie for generously allowing me to use some of his loyalty points for the accommodation. And no, sorry, Phuket. Sorry, mate, you're wrong again. I am not in the dark about who Wolfie is or what he looks like. I see by the use of the phonetic spelling here that Phuket would like to be referred to as Phuket Word rather than Phuket Word. But anyway, I'd like to take a small detour here to point out something about this particular Mr. Cheswick video. He quoted from my first video, and I play the audio only because to see this is just too cringe-worthy for me.
Establish my credibility. Here we go. Yes, I have 2 degrees. Yes. That makes me intelligent, right? Yes, I consider myself not a fool. Yes, I have to say that. And yes, I've won a couple of court cases. Well, yeah, I have. I'm not really a lawyer, but anyway, I've been to court. Yeah. So there's that makes me uniquely qualified. Indeed, yes, uniquely qualified to.
So some of you will know that my video was a complete satirical piece, and in those words, I'm taking the mickey out of Glenn Hall. And Here is the original.
Know that I am not a fool. I have a degree in math, and I have a Juris Doctorate, and I have been practicing law for almost 30 years. I have won some incredibly difficult jury trials. I just want people to realize that I'm not a fool.
Okay, you get the picture. Keep in mind that I was parroting this flat earth idiot, so this comment from Mr. Cheswick applies to the original source of this rubbish, Mr. Glenn Hall, not me. And I really love it when flat earthers criticise me when I am really just talking like a flat earther. That's when bias really shows. And you know what's funny? Anyone who pointed out that I was just taking the mickey out of Glenn Hall got their comments deleted. And I am blocked from that channel as well. Anyway, I do digress. Back to Phuket. Listen to this masterful piece of projection.
So there are people out there who have clearly adopted deception as a means of trying to debunk the flat earth and in no way attempt to prove that we live on a spherical earth with any kind of science.
The claim is we use deception and not science, but he himself uses deception and no science, as I will show you.
So anyway, we'll just go and have a look now at this viewpoint and we'll see how easy it is to be deceptive.
Yes, we will see how easy it is to be deceptive.
So, not really sure how high this place is. Phuket City viewpoint.
You can see how much measurement and science he puts in. None really. Just words and pseudoscience. He doesn't even bother to take the trouble to work out the height of his observation point. That's a very fundamental and important measurement to do. It's also a key ingredient when being deceptive. Measure nothing, make unfounded assertions. Another example.
Now all I've got to do, I'll show you how little I have to raise it. Just compare it to the plinth here and see how little it's raised. That will do, I expect. And now I can get this in the middle of the frame and claim to be at eye level.
No, this is the deception. The only people who claim eye level is actually where the camera points to are silly flat earthers. No sensible person ever claims that wherever the camera points is eye level. It is a lie and deception to say that globe defenders claim eye level is where the camera points. Who's being deceptive again?
So people can give you numbers and claims and locations and all that jazz and get you running around doing mathematical equations, flustering over all these things because they made a claim with no other evidence apart from a photograph and some numbers.
Yes. Wasn't that you just claiming that people debunk the flat earth without using science? And now you say that using science is a bad thing? That's a bit hypocritical. Of course we use photographs and measurements and numbers and locations and mathematics and all that jazz because that's science. Phuket Word is making a claim, but not using any numbers to verify his claim. And that's supposed to be okay? What? Are we just supposed to believe what he says without checking it by using science? And yes, I'm going to use a photograph and some numbers to show the Earth cannot be flat. This is not a claim. This is the result of measurement using science.
We could do the same over here. It's a lovely view. So if we wanted to be deceptive, we can set up a scenario like this, where we claim that this photograph, the only photograph we're going to refer to, of the Isle of Maybe in the distance here, is impossible on the flat Earth.
No, it's not deceptive, and as I said, it's not a claim. It's the result of a measurement in relation to the photograph. The photograph is of the real world. We should measure the real world to see if it's flat around, yeah? Here you will see another good example of deception. I understand why flat earthers think that we just make up numbers, because that's what they do, exactly like he did here. These are not the real numbers which you would get from doing measurements. These numbers here are just made up. The viewpoint is 110 metres high, not 500, and the island is about 40 metres high on that right side. So who is deceiving who? And yes, we are going to show that this photograph is impossible on a flat earth. Hey, Pookie Pie, you should listen to this about giving explanations without proof.
So these explanations are not scientific. They're not backed by any measurable proof. And that is the problem. Science is the measure of our physical reality. And if we cannot determine or measure or test or prove the cause of an effect or an observation, then anything that assumes or attempts to describe or explain the phenomenon without any physical measurable proof is pseudoscience.
So that's what he says. And what does he do in all his videos? He gives explanations without any measurable proof. So, Pookie Pie, by your own definitions, and if you follow your own words, you are engaging in deception and pseudoscience. Let's listen to Phuket Word define eye level.
Now let's be sure to understand that usually when we talk about eye level, we mean two things. Firstly, we mean that the camera is completely level. That means horizontal, a parallel line of sight across a flat surface, or perpendicular to the observer's vertical, there up and down. And so we have a horizontal line of sight that's at right angles to the up and down of the observer, their local up and down. That's eye level. So, of course, it's important to define exactly what eye level is. You can go and look it up in the dictionary, and it means that when we something at the height of our eyes when we look straight ahead. Okay, so when we're looking across a flat surface, that means that we have a horizontal line of sight that is parallel to the surface.
Yes, I agree with that. Here again is the picture I took from the same spot, and you can see the horizon is a bit hazy. Just so there is no confusion as to where the horizon actually is, I also took a picture in infrared. Now all the flatties are big fans of Jay Media One, and he tells them that infrared can see forever. In this case, you can clearly see where the horizon is. Now, using the definition of eye level that Phuket just gave us, when we are looking across a flat surface, it is a horizontal line of sight that is parallel to the surface. Let's presuppose that this surface we can see in the photo is indeed flat. My eye level height in this case is 112 metres. The island is about 75 metres high at the highest point. By definition, a horizontal line parallel to the surface will be 112 metres above the surface at that island. That would make the line about here. This is eye level as we are looking straight ahead over a presupposed flat surface. And on a flat surface, the horizon would rise to this level. But of course, it does not. Eye level straight ahead is where I have drawn that line using Phuket's definition and using the definition of what eye level is. The horizon is clearly below that and does not rise to eye level. This, of course, means that our assumption about it being a flat surface is clearly incorrect. So we have used some simple numbers and science on a single photograph to show that the Earth cannot be flat. On the other hand, Phuket I uses pseudo-scientific mumbo-jumbo explanations and deception. Although this observation and analysis by itself demonstrates clearly that the Earth is not flat, I am now going to ratify this conclusion by some further science and observation. I modelled this particular scene using elevation data that is available online. With the assumption that the Earth is flat, the scene should look like this. The red dot represents eye level on a flat plane, a line of sight parallel to the surface. You can see that on the flat model, the horizon does indeed appear to rise to eye level. But does this match with what we see? No, it does not. I also modelled this on the globe and incorporated standard refraction. It's pretty obvious that this matches the observed reality as shown in the photograph. So there you have it. Flat Earth impossible by using a couple of numbers in a single photograph. Now, not only have I used the single photograph, I've made some other actual measurements. I have a digital level accurate to 0.1 degrees and also a water level. These two measurements also agree that the Earth cannot be flat because the horizon does not appear to rise to the line that is level to the observer. Here is a couple of videos to verify this. Well, by necessity, I had to handhold the camera, and I left my other tripod back in the hotel room, so I also had to take advantage of the voice-activated mount that you could see holding the water tube. Now we'll listen to some final words from Nick.
So it's very easy to be deceptive if you want to be. So, you must respect and commend those people who have been scientific in their investigations, not with just numbers and calculations, but with attempts to get true measurements, proper measurements, and it's very difficult.
Thanks, Nick, for that commendation. And yes, even though it's been a bit difficult to travel all the way to Phuket and take these measurements, I wasn't so lazy as to just point my camera into the distance and make a claim that the horizon always rises to eye level without actually taking any measurements. You can see I did the measurements, I did the science. Thanks for listening. And if you like my material here, could you please subscribe and recommend this video to any of your flat earth mates who might think that the horizon is supposed to rise to eye level.